The grand lecture hall at Harvard University hummed with anticipation. Every seat was filled, students, professors, journalists, and scholars, all eyes fixed on the polished wooden podium where Dr. Gregory Wallace, a titan of theoretical physics, prepared to make an audacious declaration. Dressed in a sharp suit, his graying hair lending an air of authority, Dr. Wallace turned to the massive chalkboard behind him. With swift, confident strokes, he scrawled a complex equation. The room fell silent as the audience struggled to decipher the labyrinth of symbols. "This," he announced, pointing to the equation, "is one of the great unsolved problems of modern physics. And today, I tell you with absolute certainty, it cannot be solved. Not with our current understanding of mathematics or physics." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Some nodded. Others scribbled notes, awed by the challenge before them. For decades, this equation had defied the brightest minds in the world. Meanwhile, unnoticed in the very back of the room, sat a small boy, just 9 years old, his legs dangling above the floor. Clutching a worn-out notebook, he wore a sweater that seemed out of place among the sea of scholars. His name was Ayan. He wasn't a student at Harvard. He was simply waiting for his father, a janitor in the building, who had let him tag along for the day. Dr. Wallace paused dramatically. "Nati, this problem is mathematically impossible to solve using conventional logic. Any questions?" The room remained silent. Even the top students, usually eager to impress, hesitated to challenge the professor. Then, unexpectedly, a small hand rose in the back row. All eyes turned to the boy. Dr. Wallace smiled, half amused. "Yes, young man, you have a question?" Ayan stood nervously. "Can I try solving it?" A wave of laughter swept through the room. Some chuckled kindly, others shot irritated glances. "Hey, who let a kid in here?" someone whispered. The professor smirked. "Son, this isn't a riddle. It's advanced quantum mechanics." But Ayan didn't back down. "Can I try?" he repeated. The laughter faded. There was something in his steady voice, a quiet determination, that caught everyone off guard. Dr. Wallace studied him for a moment, then gestured to the board. "All right," he said, humoring him. "Let's see what you've got." Ayan stepped forward. The room held its breath as the tiny boy approached the towering chalkboard. He took the chalk, closed his eyes briefly, and began to write. Line by line, the lecture hall, once buzzing with intellectual energy, froze in stunned silence. The only sound was the gentle tap of chalk against the board as Ayan, sleeves too big for his arms, filled in the final steps of his solution. He stepped back, scanning his work one last time. For a moment, no one moved. Then Dr. Wallace approached the board. Adjusting his glasses, he leaned in, his confident expression dissolving into disbelief. This can't be right," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. He double-checked, triple-checked, every symbol, every derivation. It was flawless. Turning to the crowd, his voice trembled. "This solution is correct. In fact, it's not just correct, it's elegant. It approaches the problem from an angle I've never seen before." Gasps erupted, cameras flashed, phones recorded. Students stood for a better look. The same audience that had laughed moments earlier now watched in awe. "Who taught you this?" Dr. Wallace asked, his voice thick with amazement. "My father," Ayan replied softly. "He said I should always look at problems differently." He couldn't finish school, but he loves numbers. He used to clean classrooms here and read physics books he found in the bins. All eyes turned to the back of the room, where a man in a janitor's uniform stood frozen, his eyes glistening. It was Ayan's father, Mr. Raman, the man who had quietly swept these halls for years, unnoticed, uncelebrated. The room erupted into applause, not just for Ayan, but for the father who had nurtured a genius while pushing a broom through the corridors of one of the world's most elite institutions. Dr. Wallace walked over to Mr. Rahman, extending a hand. "Oh, sir," he said, "you've done something even I couldn't. You nurtured a mind that sees beyond boundaries." Tears welled in Mr. Rahman's eyes. "I just gave him love and a little chalk." Within days, Ayan's story went viral. Headlines proclaimed, "Harvard's youngest mind solves the impossible." Interviews poured in. Scholarships were offered. But Ayan remained grounded, always saying, "My father is my greatest teacher." The equation, once deemed unsolvable, had been cracked, not by a tenured professor, but by a boy with no seat in the classroom, only a heart full of wonder and a mind unclouded by limits. And so, in a hall built for the world's most brilliant, it was a child from the shadows and his humble father who lit it up with the brightest light of all.